Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm EVM and this is all about the used market for electric vehicles. Let's face it, at the moment EVs, when they're new, are more expensive than their combustion engine counterparts. Not always is that true. The new Mini, for example, is a fraction cheaper than the petrol version it's based on. So it is changing, and the majority of manufacturers, Volkswagen included, state that price parity will be achieved in roughly 4 or 5 years from now. So it's not going to be forever, but for now, yes, they are more expensive. So the entry-level EV is a used one, and that's what I'm going to look at today. I'm just going to look at, well, what we're now nearly in the middle of March, see what's on the used EV market, and just see what you can get for between £5,000 and £20,000 at various increments. Now, the ones I pick aren't necessarily going to be the ones I would definitely recommend you get at this price bracket. You know, for 10 grand, go for this one. I'm just picking interesting cars, ones that I think are a decent price. Obviously, everybody's different. Some need a family size car, some just want a small commuter. Oh, I'm just going to have a drink before I start this because you know, it dries the throat out. Right, let's start at the bottom end, which is just over £5,000 for this particular one. The reason I'm starting at 5 grand is because that's basically what used EVs start at. They haven't been out long enough to have a really bargain basement price bracket yet. I mean, we're looking at 2012 to 2014 when EVs first trickled in, and even then you had the choice of a couple of EVs, so it's not mature yet. Right, let's get on with this. So for £5,200, I found this Renault Zoe, a 2015 one. It's the 22 kilowatt hour battery, and it has done just under 50,000 miles. Now, this is a battery leased car, which for those that don't know is effectively means that you get in the car for a few £1,000s cheaper, but you have to pay a rental effectively for the battery, which is usually about, well, let's just say about £600 a year. Okay, so you're paying 600 quid a year for a battery lease, which means the battery is always under warranty, which is usually what people worry about, even though I wouldn't be. So it gives you that peace of mind. You also get recovery as part of that, so I guess you're saving a little bit there out of that £600. Depends on how long you're going to keep it. If you're only going to keep it a year or two, it makes sense to get a lease because you're saving 2 or 3 grand, but you're spending 600. Whether you'll get that at the end when you come sell it or not, it probably ultimately evens out. But it does give people that peace of mind for the battery, not that I think you need it. However, I think for that, for just over 5 grand, a car that still looks pretty much like it does today, that's all right. I don't mind that at all. It's what, 6 years old now? Probably get about 70-ish miles in the real world in that right now as it stands. It's hard to say, obviously, because there are many variables. Another one, just to change it a little bit, for a non-leased example, for 5,250, this is a Nissan Leaf, 63 reg, so 2013 Tecna. Tecna is the top spec. So this is a family-sized car. We had 2 of them over 5 years. It really is a good family car. We had absolutely no issues with it at all. And for just over 5 grand, you're getting this one. It's done 82,000 miles, full MOT, full 12 bars on the battery healthometer, which means that you've probably got about 70-ish miles of range on that one, give or take 5 either side. Obviously, it'll be more in summer, less in winter. So I think they're not bad examples for just over 5 grand. Right, let's move on. Jump into 8 grand now, mainly because there's no point going 6, 7, 7.5 or whatever, because ultimately I'll be just showing you newer versions of the cars I've just shown you there. Mainly because that's all that was available at the time, that and Teslas, of course. Right, this one is a 2017. So a 4-year-old 41 kilowatt hour Renault Zoe. For 8 grand, I think that is a billy bargain. It's done just over 70,000 miles. So it's done a lot of miles. It's been used a fair bit. It's 4 years old, as I say, and It's, I would say, 140 to 50 mile EV in the real world. It's a good range EV. It has, of course, got a battery lease, which is why it's £8,000 and not 12 or something like that. Same thing applies, basically. Yeah, you'd be looking at 11, 12 grand if you didn't have the battery lease. So the battery lease for me is almost like a PCP finance agreement. You're getting the car cheaper, but you've got a monthly payment to go on top of it. People often look at it and go, well, it's wiping out your fuel savings. Well, it's not. It's wiping out £3,000 or £4,000 on the list price in the first place. So whichever way you balance it, you're getting a 4-year-old EV that does 140, 50 miles. I mean, that will do 200 miles in summer. My brother used to have one. I know lots of people with them. It's a 200-mile EV if you just even vaguely drive it economically when the weather's quite pleasant. Jumping up to just over 10 grand now for 10 and a half. There's two examples on this one. And again, I'm picking different EVs just to show you the range that is out there. I'm not saying this is the one I would go for 10 and a bit £1,000. I just want to show you something that's not a Zoe or a Leaf still. This is a 64 reg, so 2014 BMW i3. Just under 10 and a half, as I said, it's done just over 50,000 miles. So yeah, you're probably looking at, again, 70-ish miles. It's hard to say. It doesn't have the range extender on it. Probably why it's £10,500 and not several thousand more. So this and the other EVs I've shown you, with the exception of the 40 kilowatt hour Zoes, won't really work as an only car. These are going to be partner cars, aren't they? Where you've got more than one car in your household. It will end up doing most of the miles because it's so cheap to run. And for commuting, short journeys, it's perfect. The i3 has a carbon fibre chassis, it's got unique looks, it's got unique doors, it's got unique interior. Some like it, some don't. It's not a big car, but it's quick. 170 horsepower and instant torque means that the 0 to 30 time, granted that's not brilliant, but in town it is, the 0 to 30 time of that is quicker than any other BMW, including the M3. It really does fly off the line. It's a quick machine, is that? Not top end or anything like that, but you know, it's unique. And let's face it, if you stick a private reg on that, no one will know how old it is, and well, your neighbours might think you just bought a new one or a nearly new one. You know, if you like that sort of thing. Now moving on to something which again is quite unique and pretty rare in terms of you don't really see them on the road. It's a 2016 66 reg Kia Soul EV. This one is loved by the people that own them. It really is a quirky machine. Some won't like it. I reckon you're looking at, what would it be, 90 miles real world range. Jumping up to £15,000 now. Otherwise, again, I'll be just showing you newer versions of what I've already shown you. You know, newer Leafs, newer Zoes, newer Souls, i3s and whatnot. This, however, I think is particularly good value because it's 2.5 years old. It will do about 135-ish miles in the real world. It has done 70,000 miles, so it's had a lot of miles piled on it, and it is a Nissan Leaf, a 40 kilowatt hour, current shape, Techno. Techno is, again, the top specs. You've got all the toys on this one. And I think for something that is well in warranty, in terms of the car warranty, and you've got another 30,000 miles left on the battery warranty. And here comes the hail once more. Can never get away from the weather up here, even when I'm inside. A little bit more now, £16,000, just under, another 2018 car, so it's about 3 years old. This is the Hyundai Ioniq, or Hyundai Ioniq. This, again, like the Kia Soul, is a very efficient machine. It's got roughly the same battery size, again, as the 30 kilowatt hour Leaf, but will do probably 10, 15, 20 miles more. And it can charge up to 70, I think it is, 70 kilowatts, which means on a 50 you'll get a higher state of charge, because most chargers are still 50 kilowatt chargers. Oh, for God's sake, will you shut up? It's got just under 50,000 miles, and it's a big size car. I think it makes a great taxi. But in general, it's just an efficient EV. It's got a load of warranty on it. I think they come with a 7-year warranty to Hyundai's as standard. No, 8 years, 125,000 mile warranty on the battery. So there's a ton of warranty left on that, which again, I wouldn't worry, but a lot of people worry about. And I should point out that when the warranty expires, that doesn't mean that's when you place the batteries. We just forget this new battery thing. exist. People don't replace things when the warranty expires. If you have a, I don't know, a Golf and the warranty expires after 3 years, you don't buy a new engine, do you? You just end up having to pay for any repairs, which you won't need to on this because it has a huge warranty on it. 8 years, 125,000 miles. Now, £19,100. I'm going to call it 19 grand because you'll probably get that 100 quid off. It's pre-registered. It's a 70 reg, so effectively it's less than 6 months old. It's an MG ZS EV for £19,000. It's only done 20 miles and it's the Excite trim, which is the lower trim, but effectively all the cars are the same in terms of battery size and performance and whatnot. You'll get 135, 140 miles out of this in the real world. My brother has one. He loves it. I think they're very, very good value. The only thing that I think I should mention with this is that I've seen these go for about £1,000 more brand new. So I'm not sure if it's worth saving 900 quid for the sake of it being nearly 6 months old. I'd probably pay that extra and just get a brand new one. Yeah, I'm stuck with used EVs. I can't show you the new ones because that wouldn't be a used EV market. But I thought for 19 grand is practically, well, nearly new car, isn't it? And yeah, very, very well liked by the owners. Next, let's look at a £20,500 car. This is up to a year old. I think it's about 10 months old. And it's a Renault Zoe 50, which basically means it's the current model and you will get 230 miles out of that in summer. Probably more if you tried hard enough. I would say 170, 80 miles in the real world. All, you know, year round if you just drive it normally and turn things on and whatnot. Again, the majority of the year, that's a 200 mile EV. 100%. It's a very efficient EV. You've got good range. There's no battery lease, I should point that out. So for £20,500, it comes with the rapid charge option as well for the CCS. I think that's a Billy bargain. So yeah, that's all of the ones that I wanted to show you that's on Auto Trader now. But I did find one a few weeks ago. I did put it on my Twitter feed, which is at EVManUK. It's probably worth following me on that if you want to know what's going on in the channel, because I always post like press cars I've got when they arrive on there. But this I thought was the bargain of the year. Bargain of the last few years, to be perfectly honest with you. Let me just dig out the picture. Here we go, found it. Right, for 25.5 grand, give or take. Let's call it 26, just to round it up. It comes with a 75 kilowatt hour battery, 4-wheel drive. Lots of options. I won't bother going through them all, but effectively it's a Tesla Model S for £26,000, and it's a 2017 facelift model. This, I think, is a Billy bargain. Now you're thinking, what's wrong with it? It shouldn't be that cheap. It's done, I think it was around 175,000 miles, which is a lot, an awful lot. But with those Tesla Model S's, I think it's up to 2020, you have an unlimited warranty on the battery and drivetrain in terms of mileage. I think it's 8 years. So effectively that car has still got 4 years warranty left on the battery and drivetrain. So it doesn't matter how many miles it's done. Even if you set aside £2,000 for other repairs or, you know, things that, door handles that goes wrong, things that go wrong with Teslas. 2 grand, so that's 28 grand for a 2017 Model S. That's a bargain. I mean, I would have seriously looked at that if I was in the market for a car. Mileage is irrelevant up to, I think it was 2020 when they stopped making it unlimited mileage. So yeah, it doesn't really matter, does it? Go for a 4-year-old or 5-year-old, 6-year-old one, still under warranty. And when I checked it out, full MOT from a trustworthy trader that's been around for a long time, and everything worked on it. Handles, the interfaces, everything. There was nothing faulty on it. It was just the mileage that made it that price. You can't argue with that value, can you? So sometimes these do creep up. Whilst we're on the subject of used EVs, I wonder what my Model 3 would be going for right now. Let's see how much they've depreciated. I'm not sure I want to look at this. So what is the cheapest Tesla Model 3 on the 20 plate, a standard range plus? Because I paid, I think it was just over £40,000 in terms of list price. Here we go. The very, very cheapest one I could find on Auto Trader is 50 quid under £37,000. That's done 22,000 miles, which is slightly more than me. So 37 grand, roughly speaking. So that means in 1 year, my brand new car that everyone says you lose a third of its value as soon as you drive it away on, has lost, let's say 36 grand rather than 37 to play it safe, £4,000 in a year. I mean, that, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of money. But for a car that costs £40,000 to be still worth 36, possibly more, after a whole year and 20,000 miles, I'm happy with that. I mean, let's face it, how many people buy a car for, I don't know, a Golf for £19,000 that's worth 15 grand a year or so later? Strictly speaking, that's cost you the same as a brand new Tesla if I use my advanced man maths. Right, hopefully that was useful to somebody. It gives you just a brief overview and a little bit of a mixture of EVs that are on the market for between £5,000 and £20,000. No real bargains anymore. I think people have cottoned on. You get the odd one popping up like the Tesla, but that was up for about a day and then it went. So I think if you're just patient enough, keep an eye on the market, and if something comes up that you think, oh, that fits me, go for it. Just go for it. Don't think, well, I'll look at it in a week, or I'll wait until the weekend. No, ring up, go down now. You've got to take your chance when it's there, because otherwise someone else will snap it up. Okay, I think I'm done. Thanks for watching. Any questions? Any ideas? Let me know in the comments. Have you got any bargains? Has anybody out there in the comment section bought a used electric vehicle and you're thinking, I got a good deal on that one? Has anyone bought a used Tesla Model S and take advantage of that unlimited mileage warranty that you get with them? And you've had, what issues have you had? Have you had any? Because I think they're one of the sleepers almost on the used EV market. People are going to look at the age, the mileage, especially the real high mileage, and just ignore them because they're unaware of that warranty. Anyway, I'm done. Thanks for watching. See you soon.